like the content we bring you about the heavy metal world, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us grow the channel.
Armored Saint is doing a big tour with Queensrÿche. Can you talk a little bit about the upcoming tour?
Yeah, it's going to start on the 27th in lovely Anaheim, California, kind of like our hometown show, and
Awesome.
then it moves on up to the Bay Area, Sacramento. We're doing some headline shows, kind of peppered in there a little bit because Queensrÿche's doing some a lot of times that we're not playing with them. They're doing casinos, which I don't know why we're not on these casino gigs, to be honest, but we're not on some of them. So in any case, which is a bummer because I want to go to a casino and play. I know they treat you really well. In any case, so we're doing some headline shows. We're playing the San Francisco on our own, and then we go up to Seattle to rejoin them, and then to Colorado, blah, blah, blah. So it's going to be fun. It's kind of long, especially for me. It's about 6 weeks or so. But the shows should be awesome. We're going to some familiar territories, and then we're going to some places we haven't played in a long time, like Kalamazoo, Michigan, and we've never played Rockford, Illinois, and
oh wow,
we're doing Rochester, which that show's on our own, and then at the very end we're doing a few dates with a couple dates with Dangerous Toys, which should be a lot of fun. Jason's obviously a very good friend of ours, and we're playing a couple dates in Texas because we have to make our way back from Florida because that's where the Queensrÿche tour ends. But it's going to be fun. We're playing a couple Canadian dates, which should be awesome. And, those guys are amazing and just awesome band. And they treat us really well. So we did a run with them at 16 and, great guys, Eddie, Michael, Todd is awesome. It's just going to be a good match.
Awesome. So I understand that they're doing kind of a special tour. They're doing the EP in its entirety and Fair Warning.
The Warning, yes, the Warning.
So my question is, are you guys like split headliners?
No,
are you guys? Because I've seen Queensrÿche that way before when they played with Dream Theater, where both bands had an equal amount of time on the stage.
Right. Well, no, we are the support act. So let's be clear about that.
Okay.
We mean a lot to the tour, of course. I mean, we're Armored Saint, right? So
absolutely,
they got us for a reason to help the shows, but we are clearly the support act. That being said, I expect our fans and the Queensrÿche fans to embrace us, and I expect some awesome shows for us.
Absolutely.
Needless to say, and hopefully we'll help the draw of the tour. And we're, it's funny because technically March of the Saint came out in 1984, which is 40 years ago. We did a tour a few years back with doing Symbol of Salvation in its entirety, and it was awesome. It was great. We had a lot of fun. That record, it proved how amazing that album really is when you played it every night in its entirety, and it was fun. We don't have plans to do that, at least on this thing. And we're doing some dates in Europe in the summer, and we don't have plans to do it then, at least not as of now. Maybe we could do it, but we're doing festivals. We're doing some headline shows as well there, playing Germany and Britain.
Awesome.
I mean, we haven't talked about doing it there. I guess we could consider that. I want to do that, but I love March of the Saint for the most part, and I just don't know if I want to do that for this, but it's 40 years, so there's an anniversary there. So.
Right. And that was kind of one of my questions is, with all these years, I mean, you guys, most of your lineup has been there since 82. The exception, of course, of the guitar player.
Jeff Duncan.
In that situation.
He's the new guy who came in 1988.
Yeah, 88. Right. So when you're putting together a tour with such a huge catalog, how do you guys decide what you're going to do and what you can include?
Well, I like to mess around with the set a lot, especially if you played a place that you didn't play too long ago. Like, for example, we're playing Anaheim, and we played Anaheim about a year and 3 or 4 months back with Wasp. That was a great tour and great show.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll consult what we play there, because I do want to change the set a little bit, even though probably some different people, needless to say. But at least for our fans, I want to give them something different. So I'm always kind of messing with the set a little bit. We have a lot of songs to choose from. Within reason, because there is a groove that you get into when you play, and you
Right.
don't all of a sudden, sometimes the guys, I'm like, we're changing it today. And they're like, what? But I do that, and I like to do that because we have a lot of songs, and I don't want to play the same 9 tunes all the time because I can't stand when bands do that, and I don't
Yeah.
want to do that because we have a lot of cool songs to play. So
Yeah.
within reason. So haven't really started thinking about the set completely yet. I mean, I have a little bit,
Mhm.
and I have an idea of how I want to kind of start playing, and then we have a few. I call them audibles because I go to the front of the line and survey the defense, and if the defense is going to blitz, I think, then I'll call an audible, and then so I want to I'll do that sometimes like day out. So we probably got about 20 songs or so that we are going to have prepared
Mhm.
that we play, and then every night we'll see how we want to juggle it.
No, that makes it fun because you've got them all ready to go, and then you can just kind of go with what feels right for the night, right?
Right. Yeah, and like I said, there's places that we haven't played in a long time, so you consider that um, because fans haven't heard certain songs in a while. Furthermore, we do have. I mean, as far as we're concerned, Punch in the Sky is, even though it's 4 years old now, it's relatively new because we only did a one run with Wasp where I was like 3 years after the record came out, but it still
Right.
feels kind of new in a way. So we're going to
Well,
be
right,
playing
because
some
of
songs from that.
Yeah, because COVID hit right after
Right.
right when your album came out. So I'm sure
Right.
any tours you guys had planned at that point were rescheduled and everything to after the fact. So
Right, and we didn't
you're
really have a
still
lot planned at that moment, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it. Well, I wanted the record to come out because for me it made no sense to hold the record. We're not that
Right.
big of a band to save the record, and furthermore, it was COVID. People were home, like give them music to listen to. Why are we
Absolutely.
gonna prevent that? That made no sense to
Yeah.
me at all. So, but it still feels new, and playing those songs, like we're gonna open with a new song, and it sounds killer. It's so it feels right. So again, Armored Saint is this combination of a legacy band started in 82, 83, but I feel like what we've done currently is it can stand on its own, along with everything else. So we feel very connected to the new music we're making, but we also understand our origins, and we're an old school band. So that it's that combo. If you make that happen, I think people will be happy.
Yeah, speaking of that, I mean, you guys have been together so long. It's really rare for bands, heavy metal bands from the 80s to still have so much of their lineup. You know what I mean? Can you
Right.
talk a little bit about how you guys all get along after so many years?
We struggle sometimes as and normal humans would after 40. Well, some of us have known each other over 50 years. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say it's all bliss because that would be a fat,
Right,
big
right,
fat
right.
lie. But once we get on the road, we usually are pretty good with one another. It's actually pre-road that stuff gets kind of weird with emails and texts, and then it's like, "What'd you say? What you mean?" Whatever. But I mean, again, that's every band, every business, every marriage. Everybody struggles with that. That's just life.
Oh, yeah. Chats are the worst because if you can't see the person's face when you make a comment,
Right.
they don't know if it was what way you said it. Because I mean, you could say even the word "what," like "what," or you're like "what," or you know what I mean. Just you don't have that context from a visual conversation. So
That's true. But
we've had that in our band too. Just all of a sudden, somebody's like getting their feathers ruffled over.
right.
No, we didn't mean it that way.
I know. Well, the thing is that I do always champion the fact that Armored Saint is the same guys. I mean, if Dave was still alive, he'd be here, and then we'd just be going for the Outlaws, Skinner and Maiden thing with the 3 guitar players, and it's a cool vibe about that because everyone feels connected, because everyone has an investment. And obviously Phil came and then he kind of left, and Phil was there and he left, and then he came back. Jeff kind of came in a little, and it's always been me, Joey, and Gonzo. But the reality is, it really is the same guys, and so I feel like there's an investment in all this. It's not just some hired gun. No disrespect to bands that do that. I saw Y&T and on the cruise that we just did, and they were awesome. And I saw Y&T when it was the original lineup back in the 70s at the Starwood in LA.
Oh, wow.
I told Dave Manning that when I saw him at the end of the cruise. But three of those guys died. So what are you gonna do? You either get it or you replace them, and I get it. So, and I'm sure some of those guys have been there for years. I personally don't know, but you want the band to go on and you want the music to go on, so that's what you have to do. Luckily, that has not been the case. Knock on wood. Yet per se, we're all ain't no spring chicken, so it's hey man, mortality is a little cleared, unfortunately, but we keep battling, and I think it's a really cool thing. So that's where we stand.
Yeah. So speaking of working together and you guys being the same band, what new music, new album coming soon? Can you talk a little bit?
We're writing. I was just listening to some ideas earlier and kind of messing around with some stuff. We don't move too rapidly, unfortunately. Well, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But
sure.
I truly believe that the music we make is of the highest quality. So we're not some band that are getting like 2 records out a year, like the amazing bands in the 70s used to do. Those guys, I mean, they were incredible. They were tour, and they still would put out sometimes 2 records a year. And I don't even know how they did it because it was the music was so good. But it's just not the way people really kind of make records anymore.
Right.
Go out and you go on the road, and sometimes those tours can last for a while off and on. So again, to me, it's just about the quality of the record. That's the most important thing, of course. I'm sure every band thinks that. They're not like, let's put out a record of crap. Of course you believe
right.
the record's great. But I mean, we scrutinize it, and we really put ourselves, under the microscope when we're making albums and writing songs. So we do want them to be the best they can be, and if it's not ready, it's not ready. And if it's 5 years, which is how it's kind of been, then that's the way it is. It's a little drag because we are older. If we were 30, then I wouldn't care so much. But again, it's the way it is. So, but we're trying to get a record deal signed and completed here. We're struggling with that over the last couple of days. So we need to put that to bed so we can say we're going to make a record and already have that mindset. But when that'll happen, I can't answer.
Right. Now, wasn't the last Punching the Sky, wasn't that on Metal Blade? Is that correct?
All our records since we basically resumed as a band after I left, Bax has been on Metal Blade. And now Metal Blade has licensed the first 3 records that were on Chrysalis because Chrysalis was nice enough to allow that to happen and did some things with us. They waived our outstanding debt, which was really amazing. Well, there's no more Chris. I don't think there's a Chrysalis. I think it's under BMG now. It's
right.
A lot of labels have merged and gone under, or what have you. But yeah, I mean, we have a really great situation with Metal Blade being able to kind of just have our whole catalog, which is the way you want to do it. And then when we go on the road, actually, we have product and we sell it and sign it and sell CDs and LPs, and it's awesome. It's really cool. So
yeah, it's quite a lot different. The labels and the way they work these days, isn't it? I mean, it was my understanding in the old days, you'd get signed for a record, they'd put out your record, and you were immediately owed them for everything. And then, you had to kind of tour and try and pay your debt back. You know what I mean?
I mean, and it is that. Let's face it. To kind of dumb it down even more for me than anyone is that it sometimes it kind of work like a bank, and it's like, here's your investment, here is your advance. We're not just giving you that. You have to pay it back because that's the way the business works. So here's the budget for a record. Here's some budgets for a video. Some of that is, depending on bands and your contract, is more recoupable than others. And a lot of companies have merchandise companies now. So Metal Blade has their own merch company. So again, it's all kind of in-house. But really, in a nutshell, that's kind of how it works. Like, it's an investment, and then you have to pay your investment back. But after a long period of time, like the early records with Chrysalis, they're after 35 years, actually it resorts back to you. So the label kind of works something out where they can keep it, or they can release it, depending on what you do, what they do. they don't want to necessarily just give it back to you and not get anything, because
Right.
it's an investment for them. And so, but they can make it easy for you to kind of re-release things and relicense them through another company. And that's what, and they did. I mean, look, I'm always honest about shit. And
Mhm.
we had a $500,000 debt to Chrysalis from those first 3 records, and they waived it, which is not unusual these days. It's been known to happen.
Yeah.
But it's great because, they almost, for every record we sell, we are now officially in the black. So it's great. It's a cool thing. And again, for 35 years, I think they wrote the tax write-off was written a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, there's really no reason not to do it. But,
Yeah, I think that's really fortunate, especially for a band like you guys that have been putting out the record since '82.
Yeah, and a lot of our records weren't available for a while because, they, especially once they go into the digital, sometimes they were available on iTunes, but the official product isn't available. That's why Metal Blade relicensed them for us, and now you can make product, and now it says Metal Blade on it, and that's great. So we can sell them on the road, and if somebody's record March of the Saint was eaten by their dog, or got warped like some of my records did, they can get a new one, and they'll be happy. So it's
Right. Awesome. So I was going to ask you, can you talk a little bit about your songwriting process, John, when you guys are working on songs these days?
Well, my big focus is obviously vocals. Obviously, that's my thing, and writing lyrics. That's really the thing I want to do. I'm not a good player, but I'm good in arrangement, working on arrangements and suggestions and things like that. I can hum a riff here and there if I think something's really cool that I came up with. But really, my focus is lyrics and vocals, and that's really all I want to kind of pay attention to. So. I think my lyrics I'm really proud of them. I think through the years I've become a great lyricist. I think they've gotten better as time has gone on. I'm not immune to talk about any subject, whatever it is. I don't necessarily feel like, is this metal enough? I don't care. If something motivates me in any capacity, as far as an idea lyrically, I'll write about it. So, and I'll make it work. It's a struggle sometimes to not repeat lyrics because I've written a lot of songs. So, I mean, I try to expand my vocabulary musically and lyrically, even though it's probably not that big in my mind and in the way I normally speak. But, I use a thesaurus, and I try to come up with different words, a different way of saying something. I'll always be questioning, did I say that? Did I use that lyric? And that's a good challenge for me. Melody is the same thing. It's really just letting the music kind of get into me, and then start humming some things, see what works, try to, again, do something differently. I don't necessarily want to do something different just for the sake of doing something different.
Right.
It's more about just trying to always kind of expand and try to embellish myself as a writer and lyricist and vocalist and work on that. So that's the thing I'm always doing. I always look at it as a challenge. I've actually, knock on wood, haven't really had too many writer's blocks. I have a lot of ideas still, and that's been great. So I'm fortunate with that. I still really love doing it. So I mean, again, that's where I'm at with that. I really just kind of focus on the vocals and lyrics, and then Joey keeps me in line when it comes to Saint and go, well, can we work on that? Let's try to embellish that, or make that a little better, or make that a little different. Your tuning isn't very good there.
Sure. Feedback. Considering Joey does a lot of producing, right?
Pardon?
Joey does a lot of producing, right?
He does a lot of producing, and when a lot of the demos we've made, we've kept a lot of those vocals, because I really believe that sometimes the way you sing something, you may never sing it quite the same way. So
I agree.
I think it's important to keep those original demos and use them, and I've done that a lot of the time. And I think it's great, because when I go in to make a demo, I'm not just going, okay, I'll just kind of put this down and not care. I really care, and I try to sing it as best I can. sometimes things are a little different once you become more familiar with the song, obviously.
Right.
But I really just kind of, I'm always trying to expand and just, like I said, try to not do something that I've done before, not repeat something. And that's always, to me, that's probably the biggest challenge at this point. I would think a lot of songwriters who've been doing it for a long time feel the same, and I don't want to repeat myself,
Right.
Why do I don't want to? I don't want to say, that sounds like something I did. Let's see if somebody can tell. Because that's a lazily approach that I don't want to do. So it's fun.
Well,
I really feel like writing songs is still an awesome craft, and I love doing it still.
yeah, I totally agree with you about sometimes that demo, like that first time that you're inspired, like something hits you, you have this idea, you sing it with this passion because it's just brand new and it's on the demo, and you go in and you try and do it again and it's just not feeling the same.
Right. It could be a little nuance in your voice. I feel that way kind of about leads too. Like sometimes a lead, you may just not bend it the same exact way. Maybe
Right.
run. Well, let's put it like this. When we try to, there was always talk about kind of redoing March of the Saint. And a lot of bands obviously have redone full records of theirs from the past. And
that's kind of a thing now, I guess.
I guess I'm not into it, only because I feel like that was a record for that time. You could say, okay, we can make it sound better sonically, or I've sang it a million times now. I could sing it better, but it doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter. That was how it was at that time. That was the record of that time. Play live and then do a live record. But to go in the studio and redo things, I don't like it.
Why when you could put that energy just on creating something new and something
exactly. And like I said, if you want to you play it live, record it live.
Perfect. Well, is there anything else that we missed that you wanted to talk about, John? Any shout outs that you want to give to anybody, or?
Just support to all the Armored Saint fans through the years. They've always stood by us, and I feel like there's always this real deep connection with them, and we're grateful for them, because obviously without them we are nothing. We are in the garage and a local band, and if that. So it's gonna be fun doing this run. Come sing with me, make it a little easier on my voice, do some choruses. I won't make you do too many, but let's have a great tour. Come out, see Queensrÿche. They're an awesome band, and it'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to thank you again for being my guest today. John Bush of Armored Saint on the tour now with Queensrÿche all across America. And it's a tour people shouldn't miss. So
they should not. If you're into metal, how could you not come to this? Come on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to say I wish you guys were coming to Portland, but I see that you're in Seattle on the 31st.
We're just going right past Portland, and it's
I'm in Vancouver, right across the river from Portland.
Oh, you're in Vancouver, and I don't think we played Vancouver since literally Metallica in 1985. I think that was the one and only time we played Vancouver. I was just there with my wife and my son because he plays hockey, and he did a tournament up there, and we had a lot of fun in Vancouver. Little. I was a little disappointed by the homeless situation. That was really bad, but it's a beautiful city, obviously, and but I live in LA, and it's really bad here too. So, but in any case, we need to play Vancouver. I'm really annoyed. I was telling Eddie Jackson, as a matter of fact, on the boat, saying, "Why aren't we playing Vancouver?" He goes, "Dude, I don't know. We haven't played there in a long time either, and it's 3 hours away from Seattle." So. I wish we were playing Portland. It's always a great rock town. I mean, we've been playing there since we played the Starry Nights, which became the Roseland Ballroom.
Oh, yeah. Starry Nights, now the Roseland. Yeah,
it's a great venue. So I kind of wish we were doing it on our own, if nothing else. But we'll just have to make up for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say you guys are at the Neptune, which is a pretty cool theater. So...
yeah, Seattle will be great. It's let's face it, it'll always be considered Queensrÿche's hometown, and so that's awesome. And just push to get sane in Vancouver. I want to come to Vancouver and play there. So I think the last time I was there was obviously Anthrax sometime. So
Awesome. Well, thanks again, John. I really appreciate your time today, and maybe I can make it up to the Neptune. I'm going to see what I can figure out, and maybe I would love to get up there and review the show for you guys.
Yeah.
If you take some,
Come on out.
if I can work it out,
make sure that you say hello to me.
I will.
All
right. Thanks again, John.
Thanks. Have a good weekend, dude.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for the support. Bye.
If you like the content we bring you about the heavy metal world, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us grow the channel.